From airboats to fire trucks, first responders head into flooded areas to get to people, pets, and livestock.
And man, this stuff was crazy.
Jacob, you there, man?
On Fox 23 News at 5, we're with the rescuers.
They were yelling for help.
Come on. You can do it.
And the survivors as they share their stories.
And we were going to go to the cellar, and while we were standing here, it hit.
All while we assess the tornado damage. And the new efforts tonight to minimize flooding from the massive amount of water filling Keystone Lake.
Covering news that matters. Fox 23 News at 5 starts right now.
We are getting a clearer picture of the storm damage, the flooding, and the weather issues we could face in the days ahead. I'm Clay Loney.
And I'm Shay Rozzi. We were here for you around the clock, bringing you live coverage of tornadoes as well as rising creeks and rivers. Here's the latest on the situation at this hour. The biggest threat now is flooding. The Army Corps of Engineers is increasing the water release from Keystone Dam. Emergency managers do expect that to cause some minor flooding. Meanwhile, in Osage County, where there is already flooding, rescuers spent the day rescuing people by boat. And we're seeing tornado damage in North Tulsa, Peggs, and Leech.
Fox 23 Severe Weather Team is out across our area. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist James Edelot and what he saw this afternoon in North Tulsa.
The sound of chainsaws filling this North Tulsa neighborhood. What else? A lot of tornado debris. If you look, we see a lot of sticks and leaves littering this field. It is these sticks and leaves torn off of trees, lofted into the air, that allowed us to know a tornado was happening using dual pole Doppler radar at Fox 23. Now, we also have a lot of damage, too. Now, most of it, as far as tornado damage goes, is on that low end of the enhanced Fujita scale. But there is a lot of EF0 damage and probably some EF1 damage indicators that I'm seeing out here right now. Notice behind me some of the worst damage. A lot of big softwood trees uprooted down on this shop and business. And elsewhere in this block, as we go back to the west, you can actually see a sofa up in a tree perched over a fence. And the house immediately west of us has another large softwood tree uprooted and sitting on the roof of this house. So the cleanup will continue across this part of North Tulsa, as we're not far from where this touched ground originally and then moved to the east-northeast and dissipated on the west side of Tulsa International Airport. Now, thankfully, things much quieter this evening. In fact, many of us seeing a little sunshine. Temperatures have warmed up. It is breezy. We'll be back in the 60s by midnight. Coming up, though, I am tracking the chances for more thunderstorms as we finish out the week and head through the day tomorrow. I'll have that timeline coming up.
Water continues to rise in the Skiatook area, where some people today evacuated their homes, either walking out or in boats. We brought you live coverage of some of those rescues at noon. Fox 23's Rick Marinon continues our live coverage for us with just how bad things got on the east side of Skiatook. Rick.
Clay, you ever get that overwhelming feeling that something is wrong when you see it? I want to show you. We got a sickening feeling coming over the hill because this is Bird Creek on the east side of Skiatook. We are standing in the middle of Highway 20 right now, and the water is continuing to rise. On the other side of this water and through the trees, that is downtown Skiatook, where people were evacuated from their homes and businesses today by an airboat. And I'm told more people were also just worried about what they're going to come back to once all of this goes away. They were rescued from their homes.
I said, I got to get somebody with a boat to get us out of here.
And businesses.
We were fighting it, but it started coming in the drive-through window. So we just couldn't stop it no more.
For the first time in decades, if ever, Skiatook residents needed a boat to get out of the path of some of the worst flooding the town has ever seen.
There was no way you could get out without a boat.
I found Carla Lyman just moments after she stepped off of an airboat that just rescued her. She says she stayed put as long as she could, but quickly realized this wasn't just another heavy spring storm when the water wasn't around the house, but inside her house.
It's a disaster area. It was coming up in our bathroom. It was coming up through our back door and our trailer. It's all over the place. Coming up through the vents.
In addition to 2 trailer parks and some homes, businesses along the eastern part of the main street, W.C. Rogers also fell victim. Sam Little's family has owned the Tasty Freeze since the 1960s and says this is the only time he's ever had to leave the store in a boat.
I've been down there for a long time. You know, I've been through a lot of floods. It's just deeper than we ever had.
And then there's Jonathan Martin, whose family found themselves go from being on the edge of disaster to being in the middle of it.
It's crazy. Like, I don't know. We're about to graduate, so that's all I'm worried about right now.
Jonathan and his family were seen around noon rescuing their valuables and their pets as they finally realized the water was going to get too high for comfort.
This is just something downhill, but you gotta go take it right back up.
I can tell you, if you need to get into the Skiatook area, there is just roads from the south and the west. If you need to come in from the east or the north, it is almost impossible because Highway 11 looks very similar to Highway 20 that I'm standing on right now. So, for example, in order for us to get here on the east side of Skiatook, we had to travel west and south in order to come to the north and east of where I was on Fox 23 News at noon. Reporting live outside of Skiatook, covering news that matters. I'm Rick Barron on Fox 23 News.
Wow, just unbelievable seeing all that. Well, the Tulsa Fire Department rescued a man trapped beneath a large tree that fell onto his North Tulsa home during a tornado there this morning. Fox 23's Sarah Hart continues our live severe weather team coverage with an update on how that man is doing tonight. Sarah.
Shay, as James was talking about, the big problem here with the tornado in North Tulsa was those uprooted trees. That was the issue right here as well. You can see this huge tree was uprooted, fell into this house, basically cut the house in half. It's really hard to believe that a man was trapped underneath all of this. Even more miraculous, that man was brought out of this house with just an injury to his arm. Firefighters got a big round of applause this morning as they brought out a man who they freed from tornado damage. Just moments before, this tense video showing those same firefighters as they were trying to get that man out from underneath a large tree, one that had crushed into his house and on top of him as he tried to get his kids to safety during the storm.
He is very fortunate that he's alive.
It happened in a neighborhood near North St. Louis and East Newton Street. Little Cherise Sandoval is the man's next door neighbor. She heard his family crying for help.
They were yelling for help. My dad heard them and my mom was the one that called my cousins to come help them out because they were in serious danger.
They wanted us to call 911 because they couldn't speak English.
And that's what Giovanni Vargas says he did. Was he talking to you and stuff?
Yes, he was screaming. He was scared.
Rescue teams were there within minutes.
Keep trying, you're almost out. Come on. You can do it.
To save him, and miraculously, the man only had an arm injury. Sandoval saying a kitchen appliance may have been what helped to save his life.
If the stove wasn't there, he would have gotten crushed by the tree.
So the stove kind of broke the fall of the tree, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Something Vargas is thankful for. Knowing that he's going to be okay, how does that make you feel?
I felt good. I felt relieved that he was okay.
That's just the beginning of the damage in this neighborhood. As you can see at this hour, other trees being cut down. Tree companies here. There goes a branch right there. Also, we have power companies in the neighborhood as everybody just tries to start picking up and cleaning up and getting their lives back to normal. I did talk with other people in the neighborhood. Coming up on Fox 23 News at 6, I'm going to be showing you more damage. And we're going to put that interview together with a lady who says a large tree narrowly missed cutting her house in half. Live in North Tulsa, covering news that matters. Sarah Hart, Fox 23 News.
All right, Sarah, the city of Tulsa is closely monitoring the impact of the higher water release from Keystone Dam, with officials expecting minor flooding. Fox 23's Kaylee Doherty was at a news conference we brought you live this afternoon involving the city, the county, the Army Corps. Kaylee, the message was that we're prepared, but don't let your guard down.
That's right. And city and county crews worked all night and this morning to respond to fallen trees and other damage from the storms that rolled through. And an emergency shelter was set up here at Crosstown Church of Christ today for those impacted by the storms. It's near Admiral and Harvard. It was open for anyone impacted, and Red Cross officials are debating right now whether to keep this shelter open for those that might be impacted by the coming flooding that's expected to peak by daybreak tomorrow. Because of the high amount of rainfall rainfall we've seen, the Army Corps of Engineers will be upping their release of water from the Keystone Dam, which is expected to cause some flooding along the Arkansas River, especially in South Tulsa, Bixby, and Jinx. This is something we've told you that the city has been preparing for. They have emergency crews ready to respond if needed.
We have outstanding emergency personnel here in Tulsa who will be out there deployed in the field to assist Tulsans during any situations that may arise.
City officials say they do not expect this flooding to impact any homes, but they are asking people that live along the Arkansas River, especially in those southern areas, to stay alert and prepare to evacuate if needed. Reporting live in North Tulsa, covering News That Matters, I'm Kaylee Doherty, Fox 23 News.
The National Weather Service says a tornado hit the small town of Peggs in Cherokee County last night. Our team was live on the air warning people to take cover. Some families and business owners lost everything. Fox 23's Preston Jones is live in Peggs showing us some of the worst damage and how one couple managed to survive. Preston.
Karen and Ed Spencer, they have a storm cellar right here. They built this just for tornadoes, but they didn't make it in here in time last night. So now today, both their two shops over here leveled and their home over here, a total loss.
Well, I was fixing to go put some shoes on, and we were going to go to the cellar.
But instead of taking cover in the storm cellar, Karen and Ed Spencer were standing in the kitchen.
And while we were standing here, it hit.
When a tornado hit their house.
A roaring, sounded kind of like a freight train.
It broke the glass and everything. The door came open.
Broken bricks, crushed car windows, and pink insulation hanging in uprooted trees. The Spencer's house is a loss, and their large shops blown away.
I think it blew up, because it's what it looks like.
They're not alone. Another mobile home in Peggs flipped upside down with 5 people inside. None of them were hurt. And in town, a feed store was leveled. The sign at the Cowboy store now lies in the parking lot, while at Dollar General, the sign is barely standing. And the fire station's radio tower bent in half.
It hit me dead center, I think.
From the Fox 23 Skyview drone, you can see the tornado's path, tearing down hundreds of trees.
When it first hit, it busted the glass out of the storm door, and then the door ripped off the frame out.
The Spencers have insurance to replace their house, but Ed's a little worried about his tractor, equipment, and classic cars like a 72 Chevy pickup. After 50 years of marriage, though, Ed and Karen might have to start over, but they're glad they at least have each other.
I feel blessed. God had his hand on me.
But I'm just blessed to be alive.
Emergency management has been out here surveying damage today, and it is just everywhere out here. We know so far no injuries reported in any of this. Just a small town, a community left trying to rebuild. Live in Peggs, covering News That Matters. I'm Preston Jones, Fox 23 News.
A quiet blue and sunny sky, a beautiful thing to see right now. I'll walk you through the timeline of a thunderstorm forecast that could bring a few more storms back to green country.
Plus, electric scooters in Tulsa increasingly popular, but the view from the emergency room looks a little different. It's a Fox 23 investigation. Storms ended up cutting off a small town of about 300 people in Osage County. The only way we could get in to people today in Avant was on a large fire truck. Fox 23's Jana Clark picks up our live severe weather team coverage with what they're dealing with in Avant. Jana.
The roads going into Avant look like this. I saw people using boats to go in and out. There's somebody right now getting ready to load a boat onto that truck right there. People who live here say they have not seen water this high since the 70s. With some help, I got to see the town that's underwater. Randy Gosney had to boat out of Avant. His home flooded.
I've been trying to get my stuff out since 3 this morning, and it's coming up faster than I can get my stuff out.
The water's so high, no one can drive in, except tall emergency vehicles. Alan with the Avant Fire Department is nice enough that he's driving us into Avant on this tall brush truck so we can show you what it looks like.
This is Avant Street.
This is my view coming into town. Look at the speed limit sign on the right. And here's Broadway, Avant's main drag, underwater.
It's getting pretty deep, probably 2.5 foot deep in places.
The entire town is pretty much underwater right now.
Firefighters rescued people from their flooding homes. Water is flowing inside about a quarter of the houses, says the fire chief.
Some of them were panicking. You know, it's been a long time since Avant's flooded like this.
Pretty upset, losing a lot of stuff. I don't know what we can do, though.
Until the water goes down, all people here can do is watch.
There's people I've known all my life here that's losing a lot of stuff.
The fire chief says the people who have been rescued are staying at a church camp called Shepherd's Fold Ranch. Live in Avant, covering news that matters. Jana Clark, Fox 23 News.
So scary for so many people. Now, another one of the hardest hit areas last night was Claremore in Rogers County. Check out this video sent to us showing water inside someone's home last night. You can see it just rushing in what looks to be a living room and other rooms as well. You can also just see how high the water rose along Highway 20 as cars still try to drive through the flooded road. And in Broken Arrow, flooding was bad along several roads last night. We showed you officers blocking off parts of the road near Elm and Kenosha to keep people from driving in the rushing floodwaters. Some people still tried to drive around the officers, who then had to honk to make sure they didn't ignore their roadblock. And check out this intense video sent out by the Broken Arrow Fire Department right there in the middle of your screen there. This shows a swift water rescue near Albany and County Line Road. Now, this all happened around 3 this morning. They say floodwaters swept a car off the road. A man was clinging to a fence post, and you see the rescuers there kind of toward the middle of your screen. They believe he held on to that fence post for about 5 hours before his cries for help were heard. Firefighters were able to get a rope to that man with a flotation device attached and pull him across the current to safety.
ODOT is urging drivers to watch closely for closed highways across our state. Storm-related closures include Highway 64 between Pawnee and Highway 18. In Mays County, Highway 69A is closed east of Highway 69 south of Pryor. Delaware County, Highway 127 closed near Jay, just west of Highway 59 because of a damaged drain. To see a full list of closures, just go to fox23.com, click on this story. Flooding forced the Washington County SPCA animal shelter to move all animals out of that building. Let's take a look at how high the water got there this morning. Shelter is in a floodplain near the Caney River. So they moved 125 animals to the SPCA clinic building in Bartlesville. In a statement today, SPCA saying in part, all the animals are safe, and that's the most important thing. I'm not sure, says one person, exactly what the damage to the building is or our supplies and equipment will end up being. I want to thank all our volunteers, though, who responded overnight and helped us get all the animals to safety. Multiple schools either remain closed today or delayed their start this morning because of storm damage and flooding. Tulsa Public Schools decided to close for the second straight day, but the district does say that the last day of school will be tomorrow. Jinx Public Schools announced this morning they delayed their start by an hour, and a reminder that Jinx will hold their graduation ceremony tomorrow at 7 at the Mabee Center at ORU. And Bixby Public Schools also closed for a second day because of heavy rainfall and the effect of flooding. In Skiatook, one of the hardest hit areas we've been telling you much about, they close schools tomorrow as well. And Collinsville's graduation, which was rescheduled, is now being held tonight at 7 o'clock at Tulsa's Reynolds Center.
The Fox 23 severe weather team is tracking flood-damaged homes in Osage County. Fox 23's Naomi Kitt talked with homeowners who had to scramble during heavy rain overnight.
Several inches of water in Homney. This is not a lake. It's the front yard of a home. You can see this basketball goal is submerged, and the water is even ankle deep. It all fell overnight in several neighborhoods in the area.
I don't know. My daughter works real hard. She takes care of 3 children and is buying her home. And it's kind of a setback, sadness to her.
Diane Walker's daughter lives in this Homney home. Heavy, steady rain pounded the property, causing a flowing stream to make its way in her home.
I've never seen nothing like it. I love the rain, but this is a lot of rain.
Neighbors tell me the streets were submerged, reminding them more of Oklahoma rivers and lakes than the roads they take to work and school every day.
It was just a lake. I mean, the water was all the way up to my door, all the way up to the doors across. It was Well, it was more like a river, actually, because it was just running.
Brandon Halford says his family had to be rescued from the high water. In fact, firefighters saved many people from his neighborhood when that rain came down hard and fast.
The carpet is totally gone. The kitchen floor is gone. The bathroom, every room in my house is going to have to be replaced. Every room.
Today, homeowners were checking to see if anything can be saved from their waterlogged properties.
Well, I only have one answer. You can only trust God. Well, it seems like a simple answer, but that's the only answer. I can tell them you just got to trust God. He knows everything.
Reporting in Hominy, covering news that matters, I'm Naomi Kitt, Fox 23 News.
Remember to download the free Fox 23 weather app if you haven't yet. You can get push alerts sent straight to your phone with any flood warnings or other alerts to keep you updated on anything happening in your area. You can also get a look at some of the damage on the app.
New at 5, we're now seeing body cam video in Tulsa of the Tulsa police takedown this month of an active shooter. Brought you breaking coverage of this scene when an officer fired across I-44, killing suspect Derek Shaw. This was after Shaw was accused of shooting 2 people outside restaurants near 49th and Peoria, including the CC's right here. Police say Shaw was pointing his gun at drivers on I-44 when the officer shot him. The local woman accused of killing 2 of her own children is set to be back in court this week. We've told you a lot about Amy Hall, charged with the murders of 18-year-old Kaysen Tolliver and Kaysen's 16-year-old sister, Chloe. Hall is also charged with assault from her time in jail. She's scheduled for a court hearing on Thursday. Trial involving the assault charge is now set for August 9th.
Next, a look at where some of the worst flooding is hitting South Tulsa. Parts of South Tulsa saw bad flooding last night and into this morning. Fox 23 morning anchor Michelle Lynn was out at the Titan Sports Complex today and used her cell phone to shoot video of just how bad it got in the parking lot.
I'm Fox 23's Michelle Lynn in South Tulsa. This is the parking lot of Titan Sports and Performance Center near 81st and Elwood. I came to check out the flooding here. You can see just how deep the water is. But I'm not going to go out too far into it, but you can see all of the cars up against the building. I got notice today that practices would be canceled here tonight, so I wanted to come have a look. My kids practice in this facility, and we've seen flooding on the soccer fields back behind, but this is the first time we've ever seen standing water like this. Of course, we're not too far from the river. I'm just out and about checking out flooded spots today.
And that was Fox 23 morning anchor Michelle Lynn. Now, she also shot this video of water damage in Owasso. This is Big Poppy's screen printing shop. Employees there say they've been working all day to clean up the mess. You can see the debris left behind as the water started to go down and the fan inside to try to dry things out.
Well, the sunshine is back with us, but I'm also tracking thunderstorm chances that could return as early as tomorrow. I'll walk you through our severe weather threats that could return too.
We are hearing more from storm victims. A local man explains what he lost because of a tornado. Plus, Fox 23's investigation into scooter safety in Tulsa following the death of a child. We are finding quite a bit of this flooding, storm damage across the region, from high winds to tornadoes to what we're seeing right here.
Yeah, we've been bringing you coverage from all over the area throughout the day yesterday, overnight, and all day today. Our Fox 23 severe weather team coverage continues now with Chief Meteorologist James Adelot tracking what we can expect the rest of the week.
Yeah, we're starting with sunshine this evening, but unfortunately, we're going to continue having some shower and thunderstorm chances pick up again, too. Certainly not of the magnitude that we have seen over the last 36 hours. Beautiful clear sky looking to the west all the way toward downtown Tulsa right here on the horizon. On our Fox 23 Skyview Network camera, you can see Fox 23 Doppler radar clear over the city of Tulsa right now. We expand across the rest of eastern Oklahoma. We're not seeing anything in the state now, save a couple of showers right along the Arkansas border, but most of that has already moved out of the state. The big upper level low that kicked up all of this severe weather for us is just now moving across the state of Kansas, but wrapped all the way around that, a huge precipitation shield with severe thunderstorms now approaching St. Louis. We just had a confirmed tornado up I-44 close to Rolla. And then on the backside of the system, tapping into cold air, we've got snow in eastern Colorado and Nebraska, a very powerful storm system. Temps right now A breezy 76 at the airport, 75 downtown, 74 degrees in Broken Arrow. And if you are heading out for a quick walk or a bite to eat, it'll stay breezy if you are heading out. We'll see temperatures slowly settling back into the mid-70s again by 8 o'clock. And in the 60s a little later this evening. We're heading for a cool start tomorrow morning, too. Now, our Fox 23 severe weather team coverage continues with certified meteorologist Laura Mock. And Laura, you're live in North Tulsa, and we've seen it over and over with this high water, folks driving into that high water.
Yeah, I'm on 56th Street North. This is just north of the zoo and Mohawk Park. And just look at how much water we have covering the road here. Where we are right now, this is not directly near Bird Creek, but it's just along some of those smaller streams that are near Bird Creek. And there's a lot of water. And unfortunately, we have seen several people trying to drive through this water. Take a look at this video that we shot earlier today right in this spot. What you're seeing is several cars. We're talking 5, 6, 7 cars all turning around at once, trying to do 3-point turns on this 2-lane road. And then one of those vehicles, a truck, the 3-point turn didn't execute it quite right, and he ends up in the ditch where the water is even higher, and he struggles to get out of that water. He did actually he was able to get enough traction to get out of that ditch, but coming back here live, I want to show you right behind me, there is a FedEx truck, tried to do one of those 3-point turns, and the back wheel got just enough off the road where it's in the ditch and in the water, and it's muddy, and now that truck is stuck here on 56th Street North. If there's a positive spin to this, at least he's blocking more people from trying to go through this roadway. Now, right behind me is a property. I just spoke to the owner here. He has flooding, and he also has potential tornado damage from some of the storms last night. We'll hear from him coming up at 6 o'clock. But James, you have a look at if we have any more severe weather in the forecast.
Well, as we watch those thunderstorms that will be developing tomorrow afternoon, some of those will likely produce at least the threat of severe storms, but no threat at all for the rest of this evening and tonight. Severe weather unlikely, but we still may have a couple of thunderstorms Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Now, the main impact, of course, will be flooding. You can see that slider go all the way over to the major category. Wind and hail will be present in some of the strongest storms if we get them to develop. And the tornado threat, again, not zero, but it is in the minor category. These thunderstorms tomorrow, it's what we call conditional. If they can manage to develop, they will likely be severe, but there's still several negative factors that may prevent thunderstorms from developing. Now, hour-by-hour radar forecast as we roll through the day tomorrow. We'll watch some of these thunderstorms develop by early afternoon and sweep across the area during the late afternoon and evening. Again, a couple of models indicating thunderstorms, many others are not. We'll be watching that very closely. High temperatures, I hope you like it, at 86 degrees over the next few days, because that's where we're going to be locked in all the way through Saturday. Above average for this time of year, and a beautiful stretch of weather coming if you don't mind some of those scattered showers, especially for Thursday, Friday, and heading into the weekend. Now, in the morning, it's going to feel so nice. Mostly clear skies, a couple of foggy spots in areas, and distant showers and thunderstorms well to our east. Now, we will continue to look ahead to the weekend and see at least a couple of warmer days coming, especially by Sunday. And we'll have a little higher rain chance on Saturday than Sunday. So Sunday, probably your best day if you're planning outdoor plans. And over the next 10 days, I'm looking at temperatures that are going to stay on the mild side all the way through the weekend. And the following week, we'll still hold on to some scattered showers and thunderstorms as we roll through Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of the upcoming week. New at 6 o'clock, I'll have updated timing on when some of those thunderstorms could begin to fire up tomorrow.
Our team coverage returns now to North Tulsa and the impact of a tornado near Pine and Lewis. Fox 23's Jenny Young reporting live for us with a reaction from a man, Jenny, who is dealing with some of the worst damage in that area.
That's right, Clay. That property owner, Lee Cherry, he's had a large cleanup crew out there all day long. Professional crew still working, but he tells us it is going to be quite some time before things are back to normal.
I was dead asleep, and I heard the sirens, and I jumped straight up out of bed, came straight downstairs.
Lee Cherry says after that, he woke up his mother. The two rushed to get into their storm shelter. It's built just a few feet outside their back door, but it was too late.
It hit that quick that we couldn't even leave the room.
Cherry says the terror of the tornado that blew through his property lasted less than a minute.
It lasted 30 seconds, and this is the damage it does.
He says that moment will burn in his memory.
It came through here, it sounded like a semi-truck coming through the field.
So will the images of all the damage left for his family to repair.
You don't understand it till you lose your stuff.
We found out his horses were stuck in this barn for hours.
They can't get out right now because everything is blocking the barn.
Cherry's chicken coop and chickens survived the storm, but his neighbor's coop was torn to pieces.
I mean, it's destroyed. It won't never be the same.
So those horses, they were able to finally get those to a safe place. Now, as far as the chickens, they all survived. Reporting live in North Tulsa, covering news that matters, Jenny Young, Fox 23 News.
That is the bright side. Well, check this out. This is incredible aerial video of a woman being rescued from rushing floodwaters in Canadian County. You can see two men able to get out to her. She was hanging on to a tree. Now, they were able to get a harness on her and pull her to safety and walk her out of the floodwaters. That is good to see there. Well, make sure you stick with Fox 23 for all the latest updates on the cleanup following the dangerous storms yesterday and this morning. Also, make sure to download the free Fox 23 weather app to get any alerts of anything happening in your neighborhood.
A crackdown on insurance companies, the accusations of discrimination. But first, why some are worried about TSA employees ahead of the busy travel season and how this could affect you.